Welcome everyone to How We Are Changing Humanity's Future. I'm Charissa Sims, host of the Zen Success Show and live event host for Humanity's Team. And I'm so excited and grateful to be here with Steve Farrell. He is the co-founder and worldwide executive director for Humanity's Team. Welcome, Steve.
Charissa, thank you. Wonderful to kind of switch places, be here with you as our host. Thank you for being our host today. And big shout out to all of you, those of you in the green room. So wave at you because we can see you guys on camera. And Humanity's Team people and Sign Network. And Charissa has her own, like Zen Network and all of these things. So, hey, just shout out to all of you. Thank you all for being here. We're going to have fun, aren't we, Charissa?
Yes, that's right. And all the YouTube and Facebook viewers, all the guests, Humanity's Team streaming members, we are so grateful for you this week of Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And, we do have a place to submit questions in YouTube and Facebook. So feel free to submit your questions. This is a live event, so we're happy to answer any questions you might have. We're going to be going over some exciting events we have coming up that are just not to miss. So I know it's Thanksgiving tomorrow here in the US. What are your plans for tomorrow, Steve?
Yeah, we are going to just do a lot of fun family stuff tomorrow. My daughter is going to NYU in New York City, so she got back late last night. My son works with me in Humanity's Team here. Stephanie and I, the dog, Sadie, who you get to hear her bark into these programs on some occasions. And then my niece up in Fort Collins is coming down. Yeah, we're going to have a great time. Bike rides, dog walks, just relax and have fun. How about you, Charissa?
Yeah, we are going to have a friend's Thanksgiving. So we're going over to a friend's house for a potluck here in Colorado. So calling from Lafayette, but it'll be in Boulder. So yeah, and just everybody in our audience here, because it is Thanksgiving, just thinking about what you're grateful for in your life. We are definitely grateful for all of you. We wouldn't be here without you. So we just definitely appreciate you. Did you want to say anything about that, Steve?
Yeah, so true. And as we talk about even the theme here, where we're changing humanity's future and this great, I call it the Great Migration to conscious living. It's a community thing, right, as we know. So this is sweeping the whole of the earth right now. So it's not being reported by the press, but it is. And you all here, you're the ones that in the green room with us, those out on social media that come in, high five, comment, fist bump. Thank you for being here. And it's so cool to be in community too. As we know, we're pioneers still, when we talk about conscious living in oneness. It's not like our neighbors in the grocery store is all there yet, though sometimes it can be. But we come together, all of us kindred spirits, on these Wednesday mornings and have this time together, and it's special. Yeah, so we'll be raising a glass of sparkling water to you here tomorrow during Thanksgiving.
And right now, I just did it right now.
right now too.
Preemptive. Yes, thank you for saying that. And isn't it incredible? I feel like the work that you've been doing for the past 20 years and your incredible book, A New Universal Dream, are really making a difference. And the vibration is raising on the planet because right now in the Middle East, they've declared 4 days of peace. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that is so fantastic. This 4 days of peace and these 40 plus hostages being released, even as we speak right now. So some people maybe haven't even seen the news because it's so fresh. But yes, over in the Middle East, Hamas releasing 40 plus hostages, 4 days of peace, just as we come into Thanksgiving here in the US. And yeah, isn't that a small miracle? It really is. I mean, it's a beautiful miracle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now I want to shift a little bit and talk about why you feel that for Humanity's Team, it's your Galileo moment or our Galileo moment.
Yeah, our Galileo moment. And boy, is it ever. So if people, so if you all watching have not, if you did not receive the communication, and it went out to almost 1 million people on Sunday, it went out to 930,000 people on Sunday. So our email list is just, really quite large and growing. If you did not receive it, let me invite you to go to the humanitiesteam.org website, that's with a Y, and then scroll down to blogs, and you'll see our Galileo moment. I'm going to talk about it right now, but it's so important that we're labeling it the Galileo moment. So here's what we mean by that is, back in the early 1600s, this guy Galileo, who was an Italian, learned about the telescope. The Dutch discovered it. He created his own telescope, looked up into the heavens, and made some discoveries, namely that what the Earth thought was true, that we were the center of the universe, was not true. This was called the geocentric model that was people on the Earth subscribed to, the Earth, the center of the entire universe. So, and with his telescope, what he observed is, oh my gosh, that we're actually a part of a solar system of planets revolving around the sun within a larger universe. And that doesn't sound today like such a huge deal, except that it really was in the early 1600s. This was canon, the center of church teachings. There was a Spanish Inquisition then that actually was present until the 1800s. And the Spanish Inquisition was about doing away with what they called heresy. So when somebody surfaced that was going to challenge one of these central notions of the church, oh boy, you were in trouble. There were many, as we know from history class, that were killed, murdered, in that time frame. And they came after Galileo. And said, this is not, you need to renounce this right away, and put him under house arrest. He renounced, but others had telescopes and observed the same thing, and it was too late. Reality, the ultimate reality was changed for the entire planet. We came to understand that the universe is not as we thought it was. He was not put to death because he renounced, but to the end of his life, to the very end of his life, he was under house arrest. So he paid a huge price for exposing a false reality. Okay, now there's an even more dangerous false reality right now that the whole planet is living into. That's why we're calling it our Galileo moment. The false reality goes back to Hippocrates and before. He lived in 450 BCE, 2,500 years ago. And he said there's one common flow, one common breathing, referencing this oneness, this diversity and unity. And then down through the ages, there were many notables and scientists. I'm not going to try and read all those to you. It wouldn't be very inspiring. Einstein, who is the most credible, notable scientist I think that's ever lived on the planet, kind of made this thing his thing. So in 1921, 102 years ago, he said, the greatest illusion in the world, it's the illusion of separation. And then he went further. I won't read you the longer quotes, but he said, we suffer from an optical delusion where we look at, like I'm looking at you, well, you're clearly separate from me, Charissa, and the planet is under my feet. It's clearly separate from me, and the God of my understanding's up in the clouds somewhere, right? So what Einstein said is we have to clear this optical delusion because it creates a prison for us. And what we want to do is live into ultimate reality where we see that we're deeply interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent, and embrace the whole of the earth and humanity. And then he said the thing that is what Humanities Team's work is about, where he said, how do we do that? How do we do this? So he said, no problem can be solved at the level of consciousness that created that problem. So he says, okay, so you have to elevate, shift your consciousness up a level to where you can see what is true. And of course, the what is true in quantum physics now, and many of us have read these articles, Nobel Prize for Physics, Nassim Haramein, Resonance Science Foundation, it's everywhere right now, the quantum physics that's saying, no, actually, all of the universe, James Webb telescope saying 2 billion times 3 trillion, which is septrillion stars, it's actually all one huge universal consciousness, universal presence, universal loving presence. We can call it a lot of things that's animating all of life. This is what they're saying. It's deeply interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. So let me just come back to, because we can kind of get lost in the ambiguity of all of this, and I don't want us to get lost here. We all grew up, right, with this Newtonian, Darwinian separation thing, where we're all separate from each other. It's not only plausible, but likely, where we think we're just a body separate from each other, that why shouldn't we go out and just mint unlimited treasure, become a gazillionaire, and we just have one life to live, one body, we've got a family, and just bring that treasure back to our little family. Why shouldn't we? We just have one life. We're all separate. Now, and then that means we're all going to be climbing that ladder. Most of us won't become the gazillionaire, but we're going to be focused on that fame and fortune and power, right? These things that are out there we see in the world. Even kids growing up aspire to these things. Now, by contrast, where we live into this wholeness, this oneness, this diversity and unity, this spiritual universe, which is our daily practice, I know we'll get into that later, where we live into that, okay, it's entirely different. That's why we're all watching, right? We see a different world. We see this connection. We see the sacred, actually. We even see our connection, not even just a metaphor. Carissa's a part of me, I'm a part of her. We're a part of the planet. We're a part of the universe, right? And we can actually feel into that. I often speak even on this program to how we live in flow when we start living into that, and where it's like a raft that's just gliding above this roller coaster of life, that up and down and good days and bad days. So let me pull us all together, a Galileo moment. So I'm making the case so far, we live entirely different lives. We can leave that exhaustion, that fatigue, that whole sense of isolation, of separation, and come into this more state of flow, of connection, of raft floating above. And when enough of us do this together, 8 to 10% of the planet is all, right? That's the tipping point number. Boom, the whole earth now starts shifting, because individual and collective are deeply related, right? As we get healthy, and we get 8 to 10% of us healthy, oh my God, the world around us is starting to get healthy. We're arresting extreme weather. No more wars. No more of just these poor, you've got immigrants on ships, and we say, oh, we don't care, and they go down and they all transition. No more of any of that. No more trafficking. Is it trafficking? Oh my God, talking about one of the worst ills on the planet. No more any of that, right? We can't do that. We simply can't do these things when we're living consciously. And I'll just end by saying there's actually a great migration going on right now. It's not being reported by the press at all, but it's the great migration to conscious living. Because, of course, what I'm talking about, we're deepening into, all of us, stretching into it, living more fully into it, but it's not foreign. These things I'm covering, these are not new things. Everybody is, yeah, I know that, and I know that, and I know that, right? We're connecting those dots. We're living into it more fully. So this great migration of humanity into this, what humanities team calls making conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040 in 17 years. Whoa, where we're living into the fullness of that. We are well on our way to that now. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I loved what you said. I really resonated when you said, you stop fighting it and you're in this flow and you realize that there's this connection between all of us. And that's why I started my podcast, Zen Success, because the whole tagline is moving from force to flow. And I feel like a lot of humanity's streaming platform helps with our own awakening and realizing that we're all one, especially with the scientific research and the researchers that you have with Nassim Harriman and Greg Braden. It's really great to have both. That's why I really love the platform. I watch a lot of it, and as well as like hosting events. So you have this incredible scientific research to supports this oneness. And then you have practical ways to connect deeper to yourself, to realize, like Steve said, that we all make a difference. When we raise our consciousness, we are helping all of humanity. Not to put a lot of pressure on you, but just to make it realize that you matter, and that we can all do this together. And the more you share, the more, if you are a member, if you share the streaming platform or any of these incredible live events we have coming up, that makes a difference. And then they share it, and then it's exponential. So it's really exciting. I mean, these events you have coming up, do you want to get into those?
Absolutely, yes. And before I do, you were referencing the streaming platform. I'll just say a word about that. Of course, it's called Humanity Stream Plus. Everybody in the green room with us now is a part of the streaming community. It's gone over 3,000 and growing quite rapidly. So right now, we're in this launch of Flourishing Through Chaos. You mentioned, the scientists, the spiritual leaders, the embodied practices, the conscious business, all of these things, which is its whole purpose, is this community and the streaming platform, like you mentioned, to support our conscious living, where there are the thousands of paths to that common mountaintop, where we're in that state of flow, in this state of unity and of diversity and unity, oneness and wholeness. And Flourishing Through Chaos, what a fantastic program right now. Bruce Lipton and Shamini Jain taking people through the science of how we come into this state of flow. Also, just on Humanity Stream Plus, people probably don't know this. It just went out in the last hour this morning. We announced that for the first time ever, a 2-for-1 on Humanity Stream Plus. So today through Sunday night,
Black Friday special.
It's a Black Friday, a 2-for-1. Special, so right? It's $3.99 for a subscription, and there's a 1-for-1 program. So we're already giving one away to a less fortunate person. But now you get to also give one to your loved one, a coworker, a friend, with a 2-for-1. So go. I think we've got a link right in the window here now. Yeah, you can go to that link, click on it, and you'll see the 2-for-1. It goes through Sunday night. So look at that, because it is right now, as we talk about Thanksgiving and doing something just unbelievably cool for a loved one, a friend, a coworker. What a neat thing, a 2-for-1, huh? So let me come back to your question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So question. So yes, we have these fantastic programs coming up. Okay, there are 4 of them. They're all right around the corner. I know we're going to talk a little bit about them. Let me just overview them real quick, and then we can go deeper. So first one is next Wednesday at this very same time, when we do our broadcast, next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, we're going to have with us over 10 leaders of nonprofit organizations that are also operating globally, focused on this very same thing. The theme is awakening a conscious humanity, creating a sustainable and flourishing earth. Okay, all of us, over 10 organizations coming together. You'll see Urban Laszlo, he heads the Upshift. You'll see Emmanuel Kunzelman, who heads the Hollow Movement. Ben Bowler, who heads Unity Earth. You're going to see the leader of Noetic Sciences, Claudia Wells, the leader of the Consciousness and Healing Initiative, Shamini Jain. I won't name all of them. Those are some of them. But Jim Garrison. Wow. So we're all going to come on the air. We're going to pass the microphone around. We're going to let them all, we're all going to talk for 5 minutes. Then we're going to go into question and answer. So you're going to hear a perspective on this from many different nonprofits that are located all over the world. One of our purposes in Humanities Team is, this is what oneness is, where we all come together. Good, Jim, you share. Claudia, you share. Emmanuel, you share. It's beautiful. This is where we're demonstrating this whole diversity and unity thing. So real excited about that. Then a week.
Can I talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure.
Or you want to go more later on, talk deeper about it?
Yeah, no, good. Let's just jump in and we'll go deeper.
Do it now? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I wanted to just mention, because we are getting broadcasted on the Sign Network, John Raymer is going to be there with his organization. And a lot of these organizations have recently signed on to the unitive narrative. So, and the purpose of awakening oneness was a theme that they launched. Oh, Humanity's Team launched that in June 2003. That's amazing. So there'll be brief presentations from Diane Williams, from evolutionary leaders, and then you'll have a live Q&A, right?
Yes, exactly. So thank you for bringing these things in. Unitive narrative, this is really awesome. So as you mentioned, first, Humanity's Team was founded in June 2003. Neil and I and some other people were with us. The whole thing was awakening oneness in the world, which we're talking, of course, about. It's central to conscious living. Now, what's interesting is there's an organization I belong to and that most of this group belongs to. It's called the Evolutionary Leaders. You can Google them. They have over 300 people around the world that belong to the organization. And they created just in the last year something called the unitive narrative. And the unitive narrative says everything is deeply interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. In fact, it's just one universal consciousness animating all of life. Does it sound familiar? So this is why, this is how evolution works. Once seed has been sprinkled and you have these plants starting to come up all with kind of a common message. It's, oh, it must be time. So this whole unitive narrative, again, is just embracing for all of its members, yes, this is true. That ultimate reality is not what we've been living into, this separation thing, which is creating so much pain and anguish. In fact, everything is a part of this diversity and unity or oneness. So that's a central feature of this. And then, as you mentioned, at the end of these presentations, people are going to come on and ask questions. Actually, myself and Diane Williams will be moderating the question and answer part, and we're going to go to the whole group to just kind of bring out salient points that people will want to get to. We're also going to invite questions from viewers, and this is a 2-hour program next week. It's usually an hour. We're going to go 2 hours next week. So be sure to come and join us for this program. Going to be very special.
It sounds incredible. I mean, this is no small feat. This is huge. I mean, I feel like this is as big as the Global Oneness Conference or even bigger because it's all these nonprofits coming together. So it's like there's no competition. They're just all supporting each other, promoting each other's initiatives. And Evolutionary Leaders is such an incredible organization. I mean, aren't there luminaries like Deepak Chopra and Jack Canfield? I mean, some of the best spiritual leaders in the world are part of this organization, don't you think, Steve?
Yeah, Deepak Chopra is a co-founder with Diane Williams of the Evolutionary Leaders. Yeah, it's huge. And all of the people that are they call luminaries in the space, even Neil and Barbara Marx Hubbard, and who, of course, is transition. But many of the leaders out in today's world belong to Evolutionary Leaders. And it is big, which is why we're bringing in unitive narrative, is when you have an organization that diverse, over 300 leaders all over the world, and you're saying there's a single, truth here about ultimate reality that we're going to embrace, and it's the unitive narrative, that everything is one. That's not a little thing. That's a really big thing.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I think it's going to be so special. Well, would you like to talk about some of the other events we have coming up with Neil Donald Walsh? I know he has a new book coming out, God Talk, right?
He does, yeah. He just coming out right now, called God Talk. So we'll talk about that, a little bit about his book and my book, which really goes at these themes that we're discussing here. And the overarching theme of the program with Neil, and it's 2 weeks from today. Next Wednesday is the one program we just discussed. Then a week later is this program, that's the 6th of December, is the program with Neil, and it's an hour-long program at our normal time. And we're going to back up to this whole Changing Humanity's Future initiative that we announced a year and a half ago. And a lot of its basis was the very last Conversation with God book called Awakening the Species, which is such a powerful book. I still have it by my bedstand. I've read it many times, still reading it. A beautiful book where, really the God of my understanding and of the universe was lays out kind of where we are on this whole migration, this journey to this sustainable and flourishing planet, and steps we can take. So, and three of the things that, of course, are said in that book are: one, that the hardest part of the journey is behind us, which is so profound in so many ways, just on its own, that that we can just kind of, sigh of relief of, oh, we've covered so much ground. But as well, I know we'll be talking to this notion. There's still a notion that, oh, this is all phooey stuff. This whole conscious living, oneness. It's such,
Mm-hmm.
angel talk, phooey talk,
Mm-hmm.
and yet, we're actually, the hardest part of our journey into this whole new future is behind us. So there's a lot that's said in that small statement by God, that's in the book, and then that that we're one decision away from living in this whole beautiful new way of living on the earth consciously, and this is that the present time, this is the perfect time for this change to occur, the perfect time for change, and it's all capitalized. So that also gives us hope. If we're one decision away, and this is the perfect time for advancement, right now, where in homes there's so much weariness, sort of tiredness, sense of disempowered, even anxiety and things, occasionally depression, right? You and I are talking a very hopeful, positive, inspiring message, but if we're feeling into the homes of people around the planet right now, it's a really challenging time. And in this really challenging time, here you have, in this big global conversation with God, this sort of these inspiring statements that, hey, have courage, have hope. You've done well. You're well on your way. Keep going. You're making it happen. It's exactly what we want to hear. So Neil and I are going to be going deep on all of that in this particular meeting.
That's going to be amazing. And, I feel like sometimes the news and certain TV channels can lower our consciousness. So every once in a while, I think it's good to switch the channel, change your programming, and get on Humanities Stream or go to one of these live events and really feel uplifted and feel that hope that Steve is talking about, because we want to stress that it's not airy-fairy, that this matters, that this is our Galileo moment, and let's all be a part of it. Let's all be a part of this hope.
Absolutely, yeah. And I sometimes will share it this way. I love Stephen Covey. I even taught his 7 Habits when I was an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley.
I read that in your book, A New Universal Dream. That was so great when it first came out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did teach it, and because he was really a deeply spiritual man and talked about oneness and things. He said that's the most delicious thing, is living into our oneness. Now, the first habit, of course, was be proactive, right? But then the second habit was begin with the end in mind. Okay. Now, doesn't that make sense with our lives? Well, what's the end? And maybe we begin with that end in mind. So, so that's our North Star. And that's we're saying we want to end our life with this. And then all we're saying is, okay, so we'll do things congruent with that are always propelling us in the direction of that end that we want. That's what begin with the end in mind means. And, as I often share, we work with the mediums in the NDE community, and they're saying, I can tell you what the end is. They're all saying the same thing. The end is a panoramic life review. Okay, and in that end, just like Charissa would be, what was she thinking and feeling as we were talking, and others that I lived with during my life, especially in important moments, what were they thinking, seeing, and feeling about me during my lifetime? And then a question asked at the very end of, so did you, Steve, in that lifetime, which is now past, I've transitioned, did you accomplish, what you wanted to accomplish with me, God? God's actually present at these panoramic life reviews, at every single one of them. So that's what we experience. And unfortunately, too often now, from people on the other side and people that are being read by mediums, too often the answer is, no, I'm not really living into the fullness of that. I'm not sure what other people are thinking, seeing, and feeling around me during the course of my life is going to be the best me. I think there's probably a better me. I wish I could have presented this. This is what they'd say in the afterlife. But if we understand this now, we can do what I think what you did, Charissa, and what I did, and I'm guessing many viewers have done too, which is we pick up our ladder. That was leaning against the wrong wall, where we were doing stuff. I was an entrepreneur. I was a CEO. We got shareholders here. Let's get this company. Let's get the top line and bottom line up. So and move that ladder over to this other wall of, hey, I'm a healthy cell in this superorganism body of the world around me, and I'm going to contribute to it in ways I can, and be the most loving person I know how. And we don't have to be excellent all the time, or certainly not perfect. We just do our best every day and live into that one, and it feels so good. And then we float on that raft, and then when we get to that panoramic life review at the end, so to speak, we're like, wow, that feels pretty good. I kind of like what they were thinking around me, at these courses of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so amazing. I love both of your stories, like your story and then starting this organization, Steve, 20 years ago, a 20-year anniversary this year in 2023. And then, it's like, it just shows the power of manifesting what you were able to accomplish during this time with your team. And then also Neil, of just being homeless and beginning with that end in mind, like you said, and then him transitioning. I mean, he's such an inspiration. He just had his 80th birthday. Remember celebrating that with him. And he's like still coming out with books. That creativity, just keeping connected to God and others. And it's just really inspiring. And then what you're talking about, the life review, isn't that a program, doing the life review now? Is that a program coming up on Humanity's streaming platform that we can all be a part of?
Yeah, boy, oh boy. So we haven't ever announced that yet, but there just maybe, there may be something in the pipeline that does exactly
there
that.
May be something. Okay.
Stay tuned.
Well, it sounds amazing.
You might be something. And wow, wait till we're working on something. Now wait till you see what we're working on. Oh my gosh, and actually, as we go into next year too. So if you're a stream member, you're in the green room with us. Whoa. And if you're not, we're in the 2-for-1 right now where you 400, it's 200 a person at the $3.99 where it's split. It's such a, economical deal. We're a nonprofit, so it's about being economical, making it available to as many people as possible. And just getting to that raft, as I call it, living this way, this, what I call delicious life. It's oh boy, I want it for the whole planet, honestly, the whole planet. And I think that was our invitation really when we came down here. It's just that we got a little messed up. We had a sort of like the blindfold put around our eyes there as we were growing up. And I think it must be this and fame and fortune and power over and all these things. And then we take the blindfold off and was like, oh geez, I don't think I want to go. I don't think I'll pursue those things. That's not going to make me feel good.
And I did want to mention, this is coming up, is that you can have both now. I feel like you don't have to necessarily sacrifice your consciousness for fame and fortune. You can be conscious, be loving, be giving, be connected, be one, and you can be wealthy and famous. What do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, so that's so true. That is so true. So actually, there's an irony here. The irony is like, people know I was even president of the Young Entrepreneurs in San Francisco, and then I was in the Young Presidents Organization. And the people that create success are not the ones that I knew that wanted to make a bunch of money and just aimed at that. And I just want to go, they were just aiming straight at fame and fortune, candidly did not get there. The ones that do, where there's some acclaim, you could call it fame, financial wealth and things, those are the people that aimed at something bigger and better, you know, like
Mm,
I just want
a
to create a
bigger
great
vision,
company.
huh?
I want to create
Yeah.
a great culture. I want to, you know, just have something that where there's a real interdependence, you know, within the organization and stuff. So that's the irony is as we do these things, including I'm an entrepreneur still, so I teach conscious business and where we do these kinds of things that we're talking about in business and create a culture like that and recruit like that, then absolutely, yes, the irony is you can build a big organization, you can create financial wealth, you actually can create fame. You're not after any of those things because if you are, you probably won't get there. Isn't that ironic? You have to actually aim over here and not really care. Like I don't care really, honestly, what people think about me. I'm more caring about am
Mm,
I being true to myself? That's the
mm,
thing. That's my North Star.
yeah.
Am I being true to myself? And then yes, all these good things can happen that you're talking about, Carissa.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. You hold this big vision and then you let it go. So, whatever way the universe, God, whatever you believe in, brings the right people into your life to manifest it and make it happen. It's that releasing it, releasing the outcome that I think has that higher purpose and the vision that you can manifest.
Yeah, and I'll just bring in one thing because you were referencing Neil and I and starting a humanities team and that. And the great, in my opinion, okay, this is a subjective thing. The greatest thing that we can ever do if we want to really go to that mountaintop, top of Mount Everest, that's where we put the little agendas, the smaller self kind of in a drawer, and we start living into the bigger self. This bigger self is just where we're in this communion state in our daily practice with the one that I call God or the divine, and where it's about creating health and well-being on the planet right now. Well, again, there's so much turmoil, challenge, discord, where we are just there purely in our bigger self to support people, you know, love people, support them, bringing healing into the world. This is what Humanities Team was about, and where we get behind big visions like that, where it's really about the world around us, which becomes our true self, you know, our self with a capital S. That's where, boy, you talk about massive miracles happening, a healing that's beyond your imagination. And it's not really you. It's like it's not Neil's body or my body that is doing these things. It's that who is working through us and all of our teams. Like you, Carissa, you're a key leader in the humanities team. Jim Gray, who's here, and Garth Catterall, Abby Johnson, you know, the whole team, where it's she, he that we call God or the divine working through us. That wind at our back is what's creating all of this. We're just simply the vehicles, the arms and legs and lungs of it.
I'm getting a visual of like Abby being the lungs and the arms, just the humanities team. So I wanted to mention a comment from the audience here from Barbie Johnson on YouTube. She says, I pray for humanity to rise in consciousness every day. That's so powerful. I pray for the violence to end and the compassion to win. And keep holding that vision, Barbie. I'm so happy that you put that into the comments because it's so easy to feel like our reality is the war or the chaos. And I think that's part of the reason why humanity's streaming platform has that program right now with Bruce Lipton and Shamani Jane flourishing through chaos, because there could be chaos in our families, there could be chaos all around us. But what is that vision? What is that hope that you hold for humanity? So thank you, Barbie.
Yes, and Barbie, let me just even offer an
Yeah.
idea. Just if it has any appeal, I want to thank you too, really from the bottom of my heart. This Thanksgiving tomorrow. Thank you. So the most powerful prayer. Okay, remember 2,000 years ago, it was said, "It's done unto you as you believe." Right, and Joe Dispenza, that's his whole thing. Is this whole he calls it the field, where we're reaching into the field, seeing and believing this creation, which is what we're living into. This is exactly what it means when we say it is done unto you as you believe. So what we can do here then is as a part of our daily practice is, as we know, it has been uh, prophesied, right, that this was the time of the great shift, this great pivot into this whole new way of living on the earth. There are many books, including Conversations with God, that have prophesied this. So in our daily practice, where we go into that, don't even stand up. Try this. Just don't stand up until you get to the moment in your practice where, oh my God, I can feel it. It's done. You feel it. Feel the 8 billion people that are there. We're an awakened humanity. We're now living into this ultimate reality. Everybody's moved their ladder. It's now against this wall of, oh yes, of course we're one. Of course there's diversity and unity. Of course there's wholeness. I'm living into it. Feel that, see that, think that, believe it, see it in the relationships in schools and hospitals everywhere. Add a little bit of that dose into your daily practice, because it is true. This was no lie when it was said, it's done unto you as you believe. It is true. And if we believe it, we've gone to the future, we've felt it, and we know we're unfolding into that now, it'll come even sooner than we think, maybe sooner than 2040.
Yes, yes. We keep holding that vision. Well, let's go into some more events that we have coming up, because you also have a live global gathering the next day, Thursday, December 7th.
Yes, so this is the most important of them, event of them all. There are 4 events. On December 7th, we have Suzanne Giesman. This is live. Suzanne Giesman, Deborah Poneman, Ross Hostetter, Paul Terrell, Dr. Roshanak, Jacqueline Way, of course, myself. I'll be hosting this event. Did I say Neil Donald Walsh? Of course. So this event is where we're going to just bring in the fullness. We call it our global gathering, and the fullness of what we said we'd do when we launched in 2003, and then when we updated a year and a half ago and said we're creating an initiative called Changing Humanity's Future. We're going to bring in all of what our accomplishments are that are related to this initiative, and all the things that we're doing to create this whole, by 17 years from now, conscious planet. And get ready. We're going to lift the veil on things that you've never heard us talk about, and it's huge. It's so huge what we're working on now. What we've accomplished, how we've grown this year. Charissa, is a host now of this program, right? Abby Johnson, who's watching, is an assistant. So Ross Hostetter, who has handled our legal affairs and doing lots of different things, including strategy. There are many people that are a part of the team. Just in this year, the team has grown immensely. And boy, watch, we're on the hyperbolic curve. Watch as we talk about what we've been inspired to do in these months and years directly ahead. So we're going to lay all of that out on Thursday, December 7th. Yeah, be sure to join us for that program.
I am so excited for that program, just to have the energy and the frequency of all these incredible spiritual leaders, Suzanne Giesman, Deborah Poneman, Neil Donald Walsh. I mean, you've got to be in their frequency. It's amazing. And I know you'll feel the joy too. Their laughter, their joy, it's just amazing, don't you think?
It is Steve? Amazing. Yeah, it is. And they're such incredible leaders. I mean, Suzanne Giesman, Deborah Poneman, all of them, of course, Neil, they're amazing leaders, just amazing leaders. And they're coming in live to talk to you, share what they've seen, what this vision is, what we're creating together, and just invite everybody to come in close and create with us if you'd like to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing. And ask questions, right? Are they able to ask questions as well?
Absolutely.
Steve?
Yeah. So at all of these events, yeah, there's live question and answer. So I definitely invite you to do that.
That's so incredible. Now, I mean, I feel like it's the holidays, but Humanity's team is like ramping up and doing more. When a lot of organizations are like slowing down, Thanksgiving break, boy, you guys are just really bringing it, I feel, for the holidays to really help raise consciousness.
Yeah, it's so important. As we know, this is a calling, right? This is not a career here. We're not in careers. People say, Steve, when are you retiring from this career? I say, it's not a career, and I'm not retiring. they'll cut the boots off of me, so to speak. I'm here. I feel like this is why I'm here, is to be doing this work. I'm called to it every morning. And this is my favorite time of the day, actually, is when I first awaken and I get up and I come downstairs and have a cup of coffee and do my daily practice and go on my bike ride and dog walks and all the things I do every morning. And where I'm like, hooray, oh my gosh, another day, where just like now, we're engaging. All of you are watching because this is important. This is important. We're all deepening into it. We're stretching into higher and higher levels of ourself and this work. And there's nothing more important than this now, because again, there's so many that are fatigued right now. Where even in my own family, with my brothers and sisters and things, I can see it in faces. And isn't it fun to be a part of where we can maybe where we're kind of like this, and then we start seeing this happen. It's like, oh, good. I like that. Good.
Yeah. And it's also good for your wrinkles too. It keeps you younger. There's like facial exercises that you can do that really are like that, Steve. Is that funny? Like a European facial workout. And yeah,
absolutely.
It's good for your health and wrinkles.
It is. Right. It's good for your heart and your whole self.
Your soul, connecting your mind, body, and soul. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. And I just can't wait to share this with my family, all these incredible events and friends. So there's another event happening on Wednesday, December 20th, with Olivia Hanson, Diane Williams, and Deborah Moldow. Do you want to talk about that?
You bet. Yeah. So this is big, is Olivia Hanson, who's a huge partner of ours. She created an award called the Oneness of Humanity Award. And she wanted to give her first award to the Dalai Lama, right? And he lives there in India. And so she traveled to India with Diane Williams and Deborah Moldow to present him with the very first Oneness of Humanity Award. So we have video footage, pictures of this whole ceremony where they sat down with the Dalai Lama to present him with the award. And now, one thing people may not know, unless you're Buddhist, is Buddhism, is huge on oneness. This notion that everything is interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. And so the Dalai Lama talks about oneness quite frequently, that let's live into that. We find our kinder self, our gentler self, our more listening self, our more in service self, right? Through and compassionate self, which is big for him in oneness. So it's beautiful that he was presented with that award. We're going to celebrate the Dalai Lama, watch the award ceremony, and just hear all of these personal stories from Olivia, Diane, and Deborah. And this award ceremony was just in the last month, so it just happened. We're going to hear all about it during this live program.
That's amazing. Now, the Dalai Lama cannot be present on that date, but we're going to bring in his energy and frequency, right, Steve? And
exactly.
The people presenting the award.
You'll see video footage, of him receiving the award, sharing a little bit. You're going to enjoy. It's going to be quite a ceremony where you really feel the Dalai Lama's energy behind this whole oneness thing. And one thing too I could bring in here, is when you and I were sharing a little bit yesterday, Charissa, you were saying, the only thing here is, gosh, there's so many that sort of do think this is a little airy-fairy and foo-foo and stuff. So, right, we even kind of talked into that. We talked a little bit to that already, but maybe we talk even more into it now if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, just give people a reality check on our perspective of why it's not airy-fairy, right, Steve?
Yeah, let me, if you want, let me go into my daily practice, because this is what anchors me in this whole raft thing, Also, the way it works for me is, most people say meditation, oh, my monkey mind, and it's hard to get myself to sit down and, just make the time during the day, right? We hear that all the time. I run into mine, and I'll add an extra one, Oh, good. Let me at lunch do two more. I actually run into these throughout my day. Why do I run into them instead of running away from them? So the reason I run into them was what mine is about, is this whole, oneness means that there is no separation at all. So when I said 2 billion times 3 trillion stars, I think the term is septillion when you multiply that out. So that's saying that this God or divine presence that's animating all of life in the universe is that many stars. The power plant of God is that big. Is another way of saying it. Now, and science is saying there is no separation. So that actually, in my daily practice, that power plant is within my chest, is right here, right now. It's that my soul space, my heart space, that she is up in the clouds because it's omnipresent. It's actually everywhere under my feet. But I'm going to concentrate during my daily practice on just right here in the center of my chest. And I'm going to go to what I know is true, what science is telling me is true. And certainly mystics have shared down through the ages that, oh my God, I am loved to the end of the earth, that she counts every hair on my head, that she is saying, you go, Steve, man, I got the wind at your back, man, you go. I'm going to, that's what I'm feeling into, that I feel that energy. And then, that it's done unto me as I believe. So then, okay, I'm going to go then. You got it, man. I'm going to go right there where I'm feeling oneness. The earth is in feeling oneness. Conscious living, which is slightly different than oneness. I won't try and talk that out here, but then feeling and separately into conscious living, where we're all living consciously. And then I go to another thing, the new spirituality. And the new spirituality, again, is something a little different, where we're talking about this way that we're communing, with the one, and the one is both the one of the entirety, which I'll call God or the divine, but the one is also everybody, the 8 billion people here, the animal life, plant life, the earth. So where I'm going to places of that creation is done, right? The creation is done on this one. Now it's done on this one. Now it's done on this one. Watch how, if you try this and it works for you, watch how you're going to run into creating 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes where you're just going back to your daily practice and you feel these things and it feels so good. An hour later, you're going to want to run out there and do it again, So I run into these things and they're what anchor my day every day.
Oh, I love that your daily practice. That's amazing. Now we've put up a link down here. This is to RSVP for all the events that we just mentioned, correct, Steve?
Correct, yes. So this RSVP link, we created what's called opt-in with the RSVP link, because what we've heard is everybody has busy lives and they go, oh, I like, right now people are listening. Oh, those sound good. But then, of course, it's like, oh, I didn't, darn it, I forgot, the day came and went and I missed it. So we're now going to send out a reminder if you click those links. So we'll send you a reminder and just make it easier for you to remember to come and join us for these events. You can still miss it if you want, but one, we remind you, and two, and this is kind of cool, we are going to send out links so you can listen to the program after the fact if you miss it. So there are some real good reasons to want to RSVP to these things.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. I know we just have a few minutes left here, and just to our audience, the Green Room, YouTube, Facebook, anyone on the Sign Network, if you'd like to submit some questions, we're here. This is a great opportunity, or you could put in a comment if you'd like, and we'll mention it. So I just wanted to give you all the opportunity, because I announced that in the beginning, but I didn't really go into that until after we talked about the exciting events we have coming up. So
yes, always love to get questions, especially where the questions go in the direction of the practical, of I hear you, but this doesn't work for me, or address this, where we kind of bring it down to reality. This is something I run into every day in the workplace, in my relationship at home, things like this. I love going down into actual situations, circumstances, what our day is like, where we address these things. Because, again, you'll see this in the Galileo moment if you go and read that blog, which gets into a fuller discussion than we were able to during this brief broadcast. But there is practical dimensions to this everywhere. This is, I promise you, this is not airy-fairy. The last thing I would want to do is what I see when I only occasionally turn on television, and there are these advertisements promising you, oh, take these pills and you don't ever need to eat vegetables or fruit again. I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to take those. I think I'll keep eating my vegetables and fruits. And so the last thing we're wanting to do here is just make stuff up, and that's what we're doing. Actually, is just giving people. I like to think of it as a rope, something that they can reach out and hold on to during these times. Because unfortunately, we are in microcosm and macrocosm right now in that's more of a downward spiral, where things are, notwithstanding today, where there's 4 days of peace that's announced. But as we know, we've kind of been bombarded here recently, right? This 2023 with the weather and wars and all these things, very challenging. So what we're trying to do here is just give everybody something that you can reach out and hold on to, where we find I could use the term divinity, our divine nature, which is what a spiritual universe means. And it's why throughout the Conversations with God books, it always capitalizes who you are. When it starts speaking to you, the reader, it says, what you need to know who you are, and it'll always capitalize that. That's divinity. Now, this is where God is saying, if you're sitting there at home thinking you're just some stooge, doesn't matter, lost in the shuffle, then we're not awake. It's like we're being invited to awaken in every moment to really who we are, our divine nature, our divinity, which is what a spiritual universe is composed of.
Yeah, so well said, Steve, and inspiring. You're inspiring me. So we do have a couple of comments and questions. So Nanette says, I'm not retiring either. So she's a part of Humanity's team. Thank you for not retiring.
Back to 2007. Yeah, no, and she isn't. Boy, Nanette is just like the whole team. All of them. We'll do little thank yous here at the end. Nanette is one of them.
Yeah.
They're also amazing. You too, Charissa. I thank myself that I get to work with you all every day.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Okay, so then we have Guranam asks, I have so many global conscious communities by Zoom, but I want to live in this consciousness, not be on a computer. Thoughts? And I thought that you gave a good practical exercise to be in that. But I think one of our greatest areas for spiritual growth are relationships. And so if maybe that person isn't conscious, how can you hold your ground? How can you be at peace when there is conflict going on around you? So what do you think about this question from Guranam? How can you be conscious in the world?
So such a great question. Let me go into relationship too. In the unfolding of this for me, I back, I don't know how many years ago, so probably over 10, but I was in the unfolding of all of this in terms of in my own household and how it worked. I didn't feel like the fullness of this was there. So, and Stephanie and I were working with a conscious woman that, sort of comes in as somebody that can sort of coach. And we started things that now we they just grew and grew and grew in the household of where you just start, it all of a sudden becomes less about me and more about the other person, and what can I get this for you? Can I get that for you? Seeing that the other person is always doing something nice for you, sharing, in text and verbally, audibly throughout the day, I love you, even with the kids, my kids, my son's 21, and he'll have a friend over, another guy. It's kind of weird where his guy friend's there and he says, love you, Dad. And he'll shout that at me several times. when his friend is here, and I know his friend is thinking this is a little strange, but it's okay. It's okay to be strange. Just where you just kind of walk it in and try doing it with these loved ones. It'll be a little weird, a little strange. It's like when you first get married and you're calling your spouse's parents mom and dad. It feels really strange when it's like, oh my God, this is really hard to do. But then it becomes comfortable. It's kind of the same thing. If you start this, it kind of feels really strange, but it feels less strange all the time. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you'll have socially unacceptable things going on. Like people are walking around the house, they have a friend there, love you. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I know our time is up, but I did want to mention another comment from Andrea Kelly. Hello, beautiful souls from Timaru, New Zealand. Namaste, beautiful world. Hugs. And thank you for sharing your beautiful energies everywhere. And maybe we'll just close, Steve, with some gratitude.
Yeah, let's do that. So gratitude, first of all, to you, Charissa Sims. Yeah, thank you. What a just outstanding host. We were telling her she's got the beauty from inside out. She's, outer beauty too. But, and just what a great host. So thank you so much, Charissa. And then we can pull the camera back. Jim Gray here in the studio. These are live. So Chris actually doesn't live that far from me, but we're coming to you from our own households. That's me on the couch. That's Jim over there. Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy, Abby Johnson, Dee Meyer, Andy Guski, Karen Watson. There's so many. Have grown into a good-sized team here. So thank you to all of my partners and colleagues that make this possible. So, and then the viewers. So again, in the U.S., tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Thanks for being with us. I'm going to wave because I can see people. There's some people on camera right now in the green room that are the Humanity Stream members. So I'm waving at you all. Thank you all for being here with us. We appreciate it. Makes it a lot more fun. Yeah, and to everybody that's tuned in, hey, let's just deepen into this whole conscious way of living. And if you have a moment where you feel like you're in a little bit of a downward spiral, energy feels low, not where you want it, just try some of the things Charissa and I are talking about. See if that doesn't elevate your whole vibration point. That's what that raft thing is, where we're by elevating our vibration point. We're walking around, in a state of joy. That's where we want to live. Yeah, and happy Thanksgiving, to all of you. And the spirit of that, because it's just in the U.S., I think, that we celebrate a Thanksgiving, but the spirit of Thanksgiving all over the world, and we're grateful for what's happening over in the Middle East right now. Yeah, namaste to that.
Yes. Thank you so much. And check out our Black Friday special with $100 off and 2 for 1 on Humanity's streaming service. Share and join. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day and Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Love and peace and blessings. Thanks again, Charissa. Okay.